Kendrick Lamar and Drake have been going at it these past few days. They've been aiming shots at each other. They've been throwing diss tracks at each other. And some of these diss tracks are getting out of hand. Welcome back to the Nerd Out, my beautiful people. Today we're going to be talking about Drake versus Kendrick and the whole situation that has been going on for the last couple of weeks. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't have a script for this video. I have absolutely no recollection of thoughts as to what I want to say or what I'm going to say. This is mainly just me rambling on about what my thoughts are on it, what my opinion is on it, because I've been glued to the screen watching every single move and learning about every single detail that these two have been on these last couple of weeks. I've been really paying attention to how calculated Drake has been with his responses. I've been really paying attention to the way Kendrick dismantles Drake on his diss tracks, and I've been watching a lot of videos in the community. Shout out to the NFR podcast. I'm sure that most of the people in the hip hop community watches them because they really have been doing an amazing job at analyzing these diss tracks, much better than me or anybody else could do. Because let's start off from the very beginning. Obviously, Kendrick released Like That with Future and Metro Boomin, and he started dissing J. Cole and Drake on a short 30-second to 1-minute verse where he's basically taking light shots, light jabs, more like warning shots. That's what people have been calling them. Now we all know what happened next. J. Cole, he comes out with a surprise mixtape called Might Delete Later. The last song on that mixtape is called 7-Minute Drill, and it is a response to Kendrick's verse on Like That. 7-Minute Drill is a aimed diss track at Kendrick, and a lot of people were like, oh, this is not J. Cole's best work. This is not all that good. And in my opinion, I thought it was pretty decent. Yeah, sonically, it was not my favorite thing on earth, but I thought some of the jabs on there were pretty solid. I thought they were decent, and I thought J. Cole had a lead until he apologized 2 days later, saying that he did not want to tackle Kendrick, he did not want to attack him, and that he gave into pressure when he released the diss track. But honestly, while a lot of people were critiquing him for apologizing to Kendrick and saying that he was going to take off the diss track off streaming services, I actually really appreciated that move from J. Cole, and it made me appreciate his music in a different light. Eventually, J. Cole did take off the 7-Minute Drill off DSPs. It is no longer on Spotify or anywhere else except maybe on YouTube, where you can listen to it unofficially. But after that, we all looked at Drake. What is Drake doing? What is he up to? I personally thought that Drake did not care about the situation, and I thought that he didn't want any part in this. But boy, was I wrong. Drake releases his diss track called Push Ups, and it's not just a Kendrick Lamar diss track responding to the Like That verse, but it's also a response and a collab back to A$AP Rocky, to The Weeknd, to Future, to Rick Ross, and to Metro Boomin as well. Metro Boomin isn't even a rapper. Metro Boomin is a producer. But that Metro Boomin line was vicious. I loved it. And Push Ups, at first, I didn't think it was the best sonically, but lyrically, it has some really good jabs on there. Had a lot of good shots, and this is aimed at Kendrick and aimed at the entire hip hop industry. And I thought Push Ups was really well done. And what made it even better was the second diss track that Drake released called Tailor Made Freestyle, which featured an AI Tupac and an AI Snoop Dogg. And a lot of people found it distasteful, but I found it funny because it wasn't taken seriously. If it was taken seriously, then it would have been distasteful in my opinion, but because it was a light troll, just a light jab at Kendrick to see where he was at and bait him into responding, I enjoyed it for what it was. But eventually, Kendrick Lamar did respond with his track called Euphoria. Euphoria was another diss track solely aimed at Drake, and I absolutely loved Euphoria. I thought it was such an electric performance from Kendrick, such a valid diss track. I loved the song sonically, and I loved it as a diss track aimed at Drake. Now everybody all of a sudden switched up. They were like, Drake is winning this, Drake is in the lead, to all of a sudden Kendrick cooked, and Kendrick is basically destroying Drake. And I disagree with that. I thought Euphoria was better than Push Ups. I did think that Kendrick was in the lead, but I didn't think they were that far off. This was clearly round one of the entire battle. Push Ups versus Euphoria. Euphoria won, but it was only round one. Everybody in the hip hop community knew that there was something else coming, and yeah, we were right because a massive nuke, a massive bomb was dropped by both of these guys not that long ago, not even a day ago, only a couple of hours ago. Right after Euphoria, Kendrick decides to drop yet another full-length diss track on his YouTube titled 616 in LA, and as a response to that, Drake comes out like a day later, responds with this new diss track, Family Matters, which I think sonically is the best out of all of them. I love the production on it. I love how fast and vicious Drake is rapping on it. I love some of the shots taking on it. While it does get very personal in some instances, this is basically the nuke, the bomb that Drake was hiding from the public. He dropped it. It was there. And to top it all off, the music video for this song, in my opinion, was amazing. I was simple, don't get me wrong, very simple. But the concept of it, the concept of taking Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City album cover and taking that minivan and essentially destroying it, shredding it to bits, I thought was amazing. It's like yeah, sure, it might quote unquote seem like a light jab, but it plays into the thematics of this entire beef, of this entire diss track hip hop battle. And I love that the fact that Drake did that, but what we didn't know is Kendrick had a response layered in like 30 minutes later. He dropped it like 30 minutes later or an hour later after Drake responded with Family Matters, and Kendrick also dropped his nuke. He also dropped his bomb. And damn, it was vicious, it was bloody, it is quite literally haunting what Kendrick did on Meet the Grams. Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar is the last diss track that came out in the last 24 hours. And it's safe to say that this is round 2. And this might also be the last and final round out of this entire beef, because Meet the Grams really does get into a lot of personal issues that Kendrick has with Drake. And at first it was light, at first it was more of a sparring session. They were throwing light shots at each other, and while it was very exciting, it was solely for the sport of hip hop. But now in round 2, Drake, he drops Family Matters, Kendrick drops 616 in LA, as well as Meet the Grams, and now it's really gotten personal. And what I just want to say personally is that I don't want this to get to the point where it's just ugly. I mean, let's be honest, it's already gotten there. It already is ugly. And I don't really see anybody winning out of this situation, because they're both titans of the sport. They're both the GOATs of their respective places, of their respective communities and genres. Both parties are at the elite level of hip hop. So I don't really see anybody coming out better than they already were. I don't really see anybody coming out as a winner. In fact, I think everybody loses and everybody wins at the same time, if that makes sense. Once again, I'm not really gonna go full depth into the diss tracks and analyze them bar for bar, because like I said earlier, the NFR podcast is here for that. We can go to so many different channels to see what they're analyzing and really think about the songs and the diss tracks themselves. But I'm here analyzing the entire situation and just giving my opinion on it, because these are two artists, J. Cole included of course, but he did drop out of the battle. These are 2-3 artists that I just absolutely love, and I don't want to see any of them take it to a level where they just can't get back from. Look, I think this is how we all feel about it. All of us, yeah, we make memes, we make jokes, we critique, but at the end of the day, we're all massive fans of the sport. We're all massive fans of the genre of hip hop. And like I said in one of my previous videos, I don't really care who wins in the situation. What I care about is getting good music, and we have most definitely been getting it. I just don't want this to get to the point where there's no point of return. You know, I still think it's very entertaining. I still think this is amazing. I love the fact that both of them are competing. It's quite literally number 1 versus number 1. They're both competing against each other, going at each other's necks, and I love it. But there definitely is a line that can be crossed but should not be crossed, if that makes any sense. We've all seen this before. History always repeats itself. We've seen what happened with Pac and Biggie. We saw what happened with Jay-Z and Nas. Thankfully, that never ended up in the streets. But this should all be kept for entertainment purposes. And yes, for those of you that don't know, I am Team Drake, despite the fact that I love both of these artists. But I also have Kendrick in the lead. Either way, both of these guys dropped amazing diss tracks. So like I said, sonically, Family Matters is my favorite. But in terms of what really put the nail in the coffin, Kendrick Lamar's Meet the Grams is just on a different level of vicious. I think it topped the story of Edit On. And the story of Edit On, which was dropped 5 years ago by Pusha T, was already vicious enough. But Kendrick really did some dirty, heavy work on this diss track. And overall, there's 2 winners in this occasion. And it's not Drake, it's not Kendrick. It's neither of them. The two winners in this case are J. Cole and the fans. We win, and J. Cole wins for staying out of this whole thing. But hey, in the end, comment down below what you guys think is the best diss track lyrically and what's your favorite diss track sonically, because there's a big difference between those two factors. What do you think sounds the best? What do you think has the most replay value? And who do you think did the most damage with the pen? Like I said, I love both of these artists. I love both Drake, Kendrick. They're going to continue to be my favorite artists in the genre, and I cannot wait to see where this goes next, as long as it does not cross that line. But all that being said, make sure you like and subscribe, my beautiful people, and I'll see you all on the next one.